philosophy as a subject is fascinating. At least I think so. And one of the things that I find most fascinating about it is the fact that we can explore the ideas of philosophy through any medium, through any subject, through any topic. And the reason for that is because philosophy is at its core, it is the act of figuring out how to think about something. And as human beings, we are social animals and we communicate, but we don't just communicate instructions. We also communicate ideas, and we communicate feeling and so on. Right? We communicate so many different things. And when you look into the world of entertainment, for example, a good fiction story does an exploration of philosophical ideas, and it does so in a way that is quite accessible, I think. So when we think about philosophy, we often think about the you know the big names in philosophy, Nietzsche, Plato, and so on and so forth. Right? We think about those people, and then we start to think about the works that they've produced and the ideas that they've portrayed through those works. And a lot of those works are quite technical, quite in depth, quite complex. And for for a person that doesn't have many hours to devote to reading and consuming those texts, I think movies and TV shows are a great way in, an entry into the world of philosophical thought and exploration. So I've done a few lectures on this in my time. I I normally use Star Trek as my example because it's so well known, and there are so many ideas explored within that. But I didn't want to just repeat that same thing over and over again. So I am going to have a quick look at my favourite TV show of all time, which is Stargate SG-1. I am, as you've probably guessed, a giant nerd. I love science fiction. It's my favourite form of fiction. Stargate SG-1 is a science fiction television series that aired for 10 seasons. And it's not only known for its engaging narrative, its imaginative world building, but also it's quite well known for its exploration of profound philosophical ideas. The show delves into various aspects of human existence, morality, and the nature of reality, often using the challenges faced by its characters to reflect on broader philosophical questions. This video is going to be... I'll try that again. This video, or the intention for this video, is to examine the key philosophical themes that are explored in some of the episodes of Stargate SG-1. I'm going to provide some examples from specific episodes to illustrate these ideas. So the first philosophical idea that I want to explore using the medium of Stargate SG-1 is existentialism and the meaning of life. Existentialism is a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom and choice, and it also happens to be a recurring theme in the show in Stargate SG-1. One of the more notable episodes that explored existentialist ideas is an episode called Window of Opportunity, which was from season 4. What episode number was it? Hang on, let me just check my notes. It was episode 6. So, in this particular episode, the colonel, the leader of the team, and essentially the main character of the show, and Teal'c, another character, a part of the team, they are trapped in a time loop. And in that loop, they are reliving the same day over and over and over again. At first, they respond with frustration and resignation, but as the loops continue, they begin to explore the possibilities within their seemingly endless predicament. This situation forces them to confront the meaning and purpose of their actions when faced with seemingly endless repetition. Existentialism, particularly as articulated by philosophers like Sartre and Camus, argues that life has no inherent meaning, and it's up to the individual to create their own purpose through their actions. In Window of Opportunity, the episode in question, O'Neill and Teal'c, their varied responses highlight the existentialist notion that meaning is created through our actions and decisions, even in the face of an absurd or indifferent universe. Colonel O'Neill decides to learn new skills such as juggling and pottery, while Teal'c uses the time to meditate. Their different approaches underscore the existentialist belief in personal freedom and the responsibility that comes with it. They seek to find a way out of the loop. Their actions take on a new significance, reflecting the idea that even in a repetitive and seemingly meaningless situation, individuals can assert their freedom and find a purpose. The episode ultimately suggests that the value of our experiences lies in the authenticity and intentionality of our actions. By choosing to engage with their situation actively, O'Neill and Teal'c demonstrate the existentialist idea that we are condemned to be free and must create our own meaning in an otherwise indifferent universe. So our next philosophical idea that we are going to have a quick look at through the lens of Stargate SG-1 is the ethics of war and military intervention. So it's a two-parter actually, a two-part episode called Heroes. And as a quick aside, it is, in my opinion, probably the most moving, thought-provoking, and incredibly sad episodes of the entire 10 seasons of the show. So this double episode follows a documentary team who are recording the activities of Stargate Command. Now, Stargate Command is a secret operation. It is, the public doesn't know about it, and so on. So the documentary team recording the activities of Stargate Command provides I guess you could say, a meta perspective on the series' portrayal of military operations. The presence of the documentary team forces the characters to reflect on their actions and the broader implications of their overall mission. Through interviews and on the ground footage, the episodes examine the justifications for war, the sacrifices made by soldiers, and the impact left on those left behind. The documentary format also allows for a nuanced exploration of the personal and ethical dimensions of military service. For instance, the character of Dr. Fraser, who is killed in action, becomes a focal point for examining the cost of war. Her death prompts a profound reflection on the value of human life and the ethical responsibilities of those who wage war. The underlying narrative challenges viewers to consider the moral implications of military actions and the ethical responsibilities of those who wage war, reflecting real-world debates about the ethics of intervention and the human cost of conflict. Philosophical discussions about the ethics of war are they often draw on the just war theory, which seeks to establish criteria for when it is justifiable to go to war and how war should be conducted. In the double episode Heroes, the characters grapple with these ethical questions, such as whether their actions are just and whether the ends justify the means. The episode also explores the tension between duty and personal conscience, as characters like Colonel O'Neill and Dr. Fraser confront the moral complexities of their roles. The documentary team's outsider perspective also forces the characters to articulate and defend their actions, prompting deeper reflection on the ethical dimensions of their mission. So the next idea that we're going to have a quick look at, the next philosophical idea that we're going to have a quick look at, is the nature of power and authority. This as a topic is something I think is always relevant throughout human history, and because of the complex nature of what it is to be human, it is an incredibly interesting area of philosophy to delve into. So the corrupting influence of power and ethical dilemmas associated, and let me try that again. So I'm stuttering and stumbling all over the place. The corrupting influence of power and the ethical, dilemmas associated with wielding it are explored in the episode Absolute Power, which is season 4, episode episode 17. Sorry, I was just checking my notes. Rubbish at remembering the episode numbers. In this episode, Daniel Jackson, another of the main characters of the show, is imbued with the knowledge and power of the Goa'uld. The Goa'uld are an advanced alien race. They are, and this is just for context, but they're like parasites that take over your body. They suppress your consciousness, and they they possess you. They take you over. They also have these aliens. They also have genetic memories. So every Goa'uld is born with all the knowledge of all the Goa'uld that came before. So every as a comparison, it would be like a person being born with the entire sum of knowledge that human beings have acquired throughout our existence. So yeah, in this episode, Daniel Jackson, who is a human being, is imbued with the knowledge and power of the Goa'uld, and this newfound power gives him the ability to reshape the world according to his ideals, but it also brings with it a significant ethical burden. Faced with the temptation to use this power to impose his vision of a better world, Daniel's journey becomes a cautionary tale about the dangers of absolute power. As he begins to make increasingly authoritarian decisions, his friends and colleagues struggle to reconcile the person they know with the tyrant that he's becoming. The episode highlights the philosophical idea that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, the concept famously articulated by Lord Acton, a British historian of the late 19th and 20th centuries. Um, uh, he, excuse me, the quote is something that Lord Acton wrote in a letter to Bishop Mandell Creighton. Mandell Creighton. I'm terrible with names. About how historians should judge the power of past rulers, especially popes. So the narrative of the episode explores the idea that even well-intentioned individuals can and will be seduced by power, leading them to commit acts in the name of a greater good. Daniel's transformation from compassionate, loving human to authoritarian tyrant serves as a reminder of the importance of humility and the dangers of unchecked authority. Philosophers like Nietzsche have examined the will to power and the potential for individuals to impose their will on others, often with quite destructive consequences. In absolute power, Daniel's experience mirrors these philosophical ideas, as his initial desire to use his power for good leads to increasingly oppressive actions. The episode raises questions about the ethical use of power, the potential for moral compromise, and the importance of accountability and checks on authority. So the next idea that we are going to briefly look at through the lens of what I consider to be the greatest sci-fi show of all time. You're free to disagree with me on that, it's fine. It is the concept of identity and the self. Questions of identity and the essence of self are central to the episode called Tin Man, which comes from the first season, episode 18. The SG-1 team encounter a race of robots who transfer their consciousness into mechanical beings in order to achieve immortality. This scenario prompts the characters and the viewers to consider what it means to be human when your physical form is altered or replicated. The episode explores the nature of identity, the continuity of the self, and the relationship between mind and body. The characters struggle with the realization that their consciousnesses, plural, have been transferred into robot bodies, forcing them to question the authenticity of their experiences and the integrity of their identities. Philosophical debates about personal identity often focus on the concept of psychological continuity, as discussed by great philosophers like John Locke, who argued that personal identity is based on the continuity of consciousness over time. In Tin Man, the Stargate team's experience raises questions about the nature of selfhood and the criteria for personal identity. The narrative engages with the idea that identity is not solely tied to the physical body, but also involves the continuity of memory, personality, and consciousness. The episode also touches on themes of morality and the desire for immortality, exploring the ethical and existential implications of transcending the limitations of the human body. The robot's pursuit of immortality raises questions about the value of human life and the nature of personal identity in a post-human future. The episode challenges viewers to consider the ethical and philosophical implications of artificial consciousness and the potential for new forms of identity and selfhood in a a technologically advanced world. So the next idea that we're going to look at is one that I think, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I think probably every human, at least every modern human, has thought about at one time or another. And that is the concepts of free will versus predestination. The tension between free will and predestination is examined in an episode called Threads, which comes in at season 8, episode 18. And this episode follows Daniel Jackson as he faces the choice between mortal existence and ascension to a higher plane of being. When I say ascension to a higher plane of being, basically in the show there are these aliens, they call them the ancients, and they evolved to a point where they could shed their physical bodies and they became beings of just energy. So yeah, Daniel is dying basically. So he's faced with a choice between his life, his human life and body and such, and becoming a being of pure energy that exists outside of the sort of normal reality. In a way, you could say that he is faced with the choice between staying human or becoming God in some sense. So the narrative grapples with the concept of free will and destiny, particularly in the context of Daniel's ability to shape his own fate versus accepting a predetermined path. The episode reflects the philosophical debate about the extent to which human beings are determined by fate or excised through free will. Daniel's journey is marked by moments of choice and self-determination as he navigates the challenges of his ascension and the implications of his decisions. Philosophers like Immanuel Kant have argued for the importance of free will as a basis for moral responsibility, whereas others like Spinoza have emphasized the deterministic nature of the universe. In the episode Threads, the narrative emphasizes the importance of individual choice and responsibility, suggesting that even in the face of destiny, humans have human agency plays a crucial role. Crucial, I guess they both work. Role in shaping your life. Daniel's struggle to reconcile his desires with his sense of duty underscores the complexity of human freedom and the ethical dimensions of personal choice. The episode also explores the idea that of existential freedom, highlighting the existentialist belief that individuals must create their own meaning and purpose in life. Daniel's journey reflects the existentialist idea that we are free to make choices that define our existence, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. And now we're going to move on to another philosophical concept, and this one is the ethics of technology and progress. Considering we are living in a world where AI is rapidly becoming more and more powerful and useful, and autonomy is really taking off in a way that maybe couldn't have been predicted even 40, 50 years ago. I think this one is really important to think about, and I also think it's going to become more and more, increasingly important as time goes on. So there is an episode called The Other Side, which comes from season 4, and I believe it's the second or maybe third episode. Let me check. No, it is the second episode. I got it right the first time, so that's nice. So yeah, this episode, The Other Side, addresses the ethical implications of technological advancement and progress. In this episode, the Stargate team, encounter a technologically advanced society that offers to share its knowledge in exchange for help in their war. However, the team very quickly discovers the darker aspects of this society's ethics and the consequences of unchecked technological progress. The episode raises questions about the moral responsibilities that come with advanced technology, the potential for misuse, and the ethical considerations of aiding a society whose values may conflict with your own. The story explores the dangers of technological determinism, the idea that technology shapes society in ways that can lead to unintended and potentially harmful consequences. Philosophers like Heidegger have examined the impact of technology on human existence, arguing that technological advancement can lead to a loss of authentic human experiences and values. In the episode, The Other Side, the team's dilemma highlights the ethical complexities of technological intervention, as they must weigh the benefits of advanced technology against the moral costs of supporting a society with questionable views. The episode also challenges viewers to consider the broader implications of technological progress and the importance of ethical reflection in the development of and use of new technologies. The story also explores the idea that technological advancements are not inherently good or bad, but are shaped by the values and intentions of those who wield them. The team's experience underscores the importance of ethical considerations in the pursuit of technological progress and the potential for technology to be used for both beneficial and harmful purposes. Before I continue, this particular idea is something that we as a species have struggled with for a long time. You only have to look at the proliferation of nuclear weapons, things like that, to see that debate in action. And also you can see that there is, at least right now, no real end in sight to that particular debate. So now we're going to come to another philosophical idea, which is cultural relativism and imperialism. Cultural relativism and the ethics of intervention are explored in an episode called New Ground, which comes from season 3 and is episode 19 of season 3. The Stargate team finds themselves in the middle of a conflict between two cultures with opposing worldviews. This episode examines the concept of cultural relativism, the idea that you should understand and respect different cultural practices and beliefs without imposing your own values. The story highlights the ethical dilemmas of intervention in cultural disputes and the potential consequences of cultural imperialism. Cultural relativism, as discussed by anthropologists like Franz Boas, emphasizes the importance of understanding cultures on their own terms and avoiding ethnocentric judgments. However, this perspective can also lead to ethical challenges when confronted with practices that conflict with what could be considered universal human rights. In the episode New Ground, the SG-1 team must navigate the complexities of cultural relativism, balancing their desire to help with the need to let me try that again, because I'm stuttering and stumbling all over the place. So the team, they've got to navigate the complexities of cultural relativism, balancing their desire to help with the need to respect the autonomy of the society that they encounter. The episode underscores the importance of cultural sensitivity and the challenges of cross-cultural understanding. The story also explores the tension between universal human rights and cultural relativism, prompting the audience, to consider the ethical implications of imposing your own values on another society. The episode raises questions about the limits of cultural tolerance and the ethical responsibilities of those who seek to intervene in cultural conflicts. The team's experience highlights the importance of dialogue and mutual understanding in resolving these cultural disputes, and the potential for cultural imperialism to undermine the autonomy and also the dignity of different societies. So those are some really, I thought anyway, interesting philosophical ideas that have been explored throughout the 10 seasons of the show. And there are a lot more, and I could talk in a lot more depth and detail about each of those, but really the purpose of sharing all of this is to show you that actually you don't have to engage with those ancient texts and so on and so forth to apply a philosophical thought or to think philosophically, because we are surrounded by art and creativity and human stories and so on at all times. So the material for you to examine is out there and it's freely available. Everything that you watch on TV, every book you've ever read, every interaction you've ever had, every artwork you've ever viewed, and so on and so forth, all of these things are giving you a medium by which you can engage with philosophical thought, which can in turn make it easier for you to put your own situation in perspective and to think your way out of your struggles. Stargate, the show that I've been talking about, my favourite and, in my opinion, the greatest sci-fi show of all time. I know I've already said that, but whatever. Feel free to disagree. You're wrong, but it's fine, you can disagree. But yeah, the show really, in my opinion, the writers of the show skillfully wove philosophical themes into their narratives, and they used the adventures of the team, of the SG-1 team, to explore what are really quite complex ideas about human existence, morality, and the nature of reality itself, through episodes that tackle existentialism, the ethics of war, cultural relativism, free will, identity, the nature of power, and so on. The show engages viewers in quite deep philosophical reflection in such a way that is, in my opinion, quite profound. I think that's one of the beauties of fiction. It has the ability to be much more profound than non-fiction when it comes to like self-reflection and things like that. So these themes and ideas not only enrich the overall narrative of the show, but they also invite us, the audience, to contemplate our own beliefs and values and ethics and morality in relation to the challenges faced by the characters. In doing so, Stargate, in my opinion, transcends its genre to become a thought-provoking exploration of the human condition. So that's the end, and I'm sure you're really pleased to hear that that's the end. So before I go, I would like to know, first and foremost, obviously you don't have to use Stargate, but what I want you to do, and it's not really a question, it's a thought exercise, but I would definitely appreciate it if you jumped in the comments with it, though. That would be cool. And do all the YouTubey stuff, like and subscribe and whatever. But anyway, I want you to have a think about your favourite show. Now, the reason I say your favourite show is because your favourite show is the one that's had the greatest impact on you as a person. So think about your favourite show or your favourite book or your favourite comic book or your favourite work of art and so on and so forth, right? Your favourite thing. What philosophical ideas spring to mind when you examine that thing? What ideas do you believe are being explored by the creator of that thing? And what ideas do you end up exploring through the consumption of that media? And also, as well as what philosophical ideas are you encountering in those things? So what I want you to do is pick one and then pull out one philosophical idea from it, and I want you to examine it in greater depth. So beyond just what is that idea, I think it would be a really useful exercise to think about, now that you've considered the idea, what can you take from that and apply it to your own life, your own framework of thought, to be able to move forward in a better, clearer, and hopefully happier way. So yeah, an exercise for you to do. It's really just an exercise of thought. I think it's good to think deeply about things and to try and encourage other people to think deeply about things. But I also think that when we consider works of fiction through this lens of philosophy, we get the added thing of being able to identify the various different layers within that work of fiction that really speak to us. And from that, I can only go on my own personal experience, but from that, I personally have found that there is a great deal more enjoyment that comes from that particular work of fiction when you have explored those different layers that have spoken to you in different ways. So I think it's a useful exercise, and I think as well potentially quite a fun one. So yeah, give it a go. And if you want to jump in the comments and tell me about it, I would really, really appreciate it. But don't feel like there's any pressure to do so, because, I know you've come here to learn something, but this ain't school. This is, there's no homework, there's no test, and there's no detention. So don't panic. So yeah, that's all for today. I'm going to leave it there because this is already hitting the sort of 40-minute-ish mark, I believe. So I will leave it there, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.